Earth's massive 5D ascension has begun. It is official. Vedic astrology predicts interstellar peace, defeat of the psychopathic elites, Earth shifting from 3D to 5D, and the planet Saturn is entering or has just entered the sign of Aquarius, again, Vedic astrology. And in this particular placement, it brings total healing, mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so a lot of things have been going on. I want to share this with you. Um, again, looking at Vedic astrology, starting, what did I say, March 15th. I've been already making a few videos from various points of view that starting in March, the month of March was going to be a pivot where things were going to completely start to shift, like we were going to get over that hump and everything started moving downhill. And one of the most powerful transits that is going to be happening, which started March 15th, so that would be yesterday, if you're at the time of watching this, that Saturn enters into the nakshatra of Satabisha. And that is in the sign of Aquarius. Again, I know Western astrologers are saying Saturn in Pisces, but that is incorrect. The actual placement of the stars in the sky is Saturn is just entering Aquarius in the nakshatra of Satabisha. Satabisha is a very powerful nakshatra, and it is translated as hundreds of healers. So whenever you're looking at an ancient text and they use hundreds, it means infinite. So it means infinite healing. It is the space of infinite healing. Healing not just in a temporal, limited 3D way. That's what happens when you go to the doctor, by the way. You go to the doctor, he gives you some pills, takes care of the symptoms, you feel a little bit better, you're, quote, healed. But the truth is you're not really healed. Every single dysfunction in your physical body has an emotional and spiritual dysfunction. There is an imbalance on the emotional level. I have been telling you that, listen, if things change, I'll tell you, but so far, just in the past, few weeks, I have been able, if I've got a physical ailment, pain of all kinds, if I simply go to the pain and I ask it, what is the emotional source of it? I get an answer. I resolve the emotional, psychological, spiritual imbalance. Healing is immediate. And now I do a little bit of research in Vedic astrology and I find out that's why. Saturn is the planet of karma. Now, when Saturn first introduces itself into your life, it means difficulties because Saturn is the judge. So bear in mind, Saturn is the great balancer. Saturn comes to balance the karmic ledger. Now, if you are on the side of Saturn, which means you have had a lot of trauma in your life, you should be grateful. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying it feels good. But you should be grateful because Saturn has said, I am going to heal you of this very deep, long karmic problem. It's like if you've got some major serious illness and you go to the emergency room and they say, we have to lance this boil. Otherwise it's going to burst and then it's going to be horrible. We're going to lance it before it gets, you don't like that. Or, you eat some bad fish. You start to feel sick. You don't want to throw up. You actually try to stop from throwing up. But when you go stick your face over that toilet bowl and you afterwards, you feel so much better. This is the beginning of Saturn. Saturn comes to bring the healing. The end result of Saturn is Saturn going through Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of awakening. It is the sign of complete spiritual, psychological, and technological, as well as medical, coming to a state of maturity, which means this is true relationship. This is true healing. So Saturn, Aquarius is Saturn's sign. So Saturn, of course, is very happy here. But Aquarius is the second to last sign in the zodiac, which means before you leave this plane of Earth, you achieve enlightenment. You achieve true maturity. This is why white hair is supposed to represent, some dignity, because if you've lived long enough to have white hair, it means you've gained some wisdom. Of course, that's not true for every person, but that's the symbol of it. And Aquarius is the bearer of the waters of healing, the waters of enlightenment. You have been thirsting for this balance, for this awareness, for this maturity, for this fulfillment. Peace that is not just peace because there's lack of conflict, peace because the conflict has been resolved, the desire has been satiated, and now you are satisfied. The waters of satisfaction, true satisfaction. Now, Satabisha, the Lord of Satabisha in the sign of Aquarius, is none other than Rahu. Rahu, the great deceiver. Rahu is the north node of the moon, and Rahu represents what brings you into 3D illusion. The reason that you were born was because there was an insatiable desire that your soul had. Your soul said, if your soul is my soul, your soul said, I want to surf. I did a bunch of other stuff. I got to tell you, this is what happens when you deny yourself what you want. I started surfing when I was 10 years old, and I surfed until I was 18, and then I decided to go off to college and become a real person, and I stopped surfing for 10 years. And I was not happy. And then I came back and I started surfing again when I was, in my 30s, and I had been beaten up because I went and tried to become a big Hollywood movie star, and I came back with my tail between my legs, and I went back and I started surfing again, and I loved it. And then I faced myself again, and I ran away from some stuff. I went and got married with somebody and moved off to Idaho. And every single night for the 10 years that I lived in Idaho, I dreamt about surfing. Every single night. Until towards the end of my marriage, when my marriage really started falling apart and I was in a lot of physical pain and I was very upset, I stopped dreaming about surfing. And I woke up one morning and I went, I haven't dreamt about surfing. And I knew that I had given up. I knew I was scared. I said, something's got to change. And that was the beginning of, me completely changing my life to where I am now. I wouldn't be here now if it hadn't been me waking up one morning and realizing I hadn't dreamt about surfing the night before. And then I realized as I said, I'd given up. So that was me coming to the end of that karmic payment, denying myself what I truly wanted. I was also physically in all kinds of major problems, physical pain, illness, and all those went away because I went after my dreams. I've told you guys all about that. So this is the sign of that. Saturn coming into this placement. Saturn is going to be there off and on for 2 years. For the better part of 2 years, Saturn is going to be in this placement. Now, what does Satabisha represent? As I said, it is the infinite healing, infinite healers. So it is also associated with addiction, alcohol, things like that. Why is that important? What you're going to see now is you're going to see a lot of healing in the realm of addictions. And addiction is more than just physical dependence on a chemical. Addiction comes from a deep traumatic wound in the psyche. Addiction of all kinds. And we live in a society that is based on narcissistic traumatic abuse. Everything about our society is a narcissistic traumatic devaluation. I've talked about money. Money, I mean, we talk about money as though it's a real thing. It's not. It is purely an idea. You, as I said, you know, in other videos, you look at some, you know, big giant city. You look at a huge house. You look at, you know, something that represents a lot of money, and your first thought is, wow, a lot of money created that. But no, whatever it is, whether it's a building, whether it's food, whether it's cars, whether it's surfboards, whether, you know, whether it's spaceships, no matter what it is, money had nothing to do with the construction of that thing. It was simply human beings putting their time and effort into building something. Now, we think you have to be paid to do that. Well, you know, if you don't pay people, they won't build it. But that's only because we tell people if you don't have money, you don't have any value. If you don't have money, you can't get anything. You can't buy anything, do anything. I mean, you think about it, if you go and invest in yourself in something you want. I just got back from buying myself a new surfboard. So I found the perfect surfboard. It's taken me this long, but literally for the first time in my life, I found the one surfboard that is perfect. And I've never said that about a surfboard. So I have a similar one. I said, I got to go get this. So I'm going to go sell all the rest of them. And I'm having all this guilt about money. You know, I'm going to struggle to pay taxes coming up here pretty soon. I lost a bunch of money coming here to Australia. How am I going to get back home if they kick me out of here? I'm worried about money until I realize money doesn't exist. And we devalue ourselves based on that. So we live in a society from the top down that tells you that your value is based on how much totally made up concept we say that you have. You know, the banks are failing. Everybody's afraid the banks are failing. What does that mean? The banks are losing what? Are they losing something specific? Are they losing actual resources like, you know, lumber and food and grain and clothing? You know, are they losing? No. What they've lost is a bunch of ones and zeros in a bank account. And so those banks are failing because somebody, because of the way it's set up, has decided they no longer have those ones and zeros. I'm looking at a computer and they don't have any. You know, the vault filled with cash. What is cash? It's paper that represents those ones and zeros that used to represent gold. There's no such thing. We've got a society that tells you that if you don't do this, if you don't do that, you don't have any value. So your value is based on all of these concepts, these intellectual concepts that don't exist. And that creates insanity. Because what creates addiction is the feeling that I can never get enough, which is what? Rahu. Rahu, the lower vibration of Rahu is nothing is ever enough. Rahu is a head that's been cut off the snake. Every time he eats something, it falls through his neck, which means nothing ever satisfies him until he achieves his satisfaction. And he does that in this nakshatra with Saturn coming in. When Saturn comes in, the great equalizer, the great karmic restorer, you know, we talk about Venus as being the planet of abundance. And indeed it is. But the truth is that abundance comes when you've paid off your debts. when you don't owe anything to anybody. And when you meet yourself and you owe yourself nothing, and you owe everybody else nothing, then you have achieved fulfillment. So when Saturn comes over this nakshatra of Rahu, and Rahu in Aquarius, what he's trying to do, he's the lord of this nakshatra, what he's trying to do is he is trying to bring a revolution. So in Aquarius, you have invention, you have healing of all kinds, you have space travel, you have astronomy, you have astrology. So this means with Saturn coming over, bringing the karmic ending to all of it, and Rahu being in this nakshatra looking up to the stars, guess what's going to happen? The karmic balance of the stars is coming to Earth. Rahu, the great deceiver, in his higher vibration, is the revealer of truth. This is when you evolve to the next level. This is now. And it started March 15th, yesterday, and it's going to last until December of 2024. There will be periods where Saturn is going to go retrograde back and forth. So Saturn will bounce in and out of Satabisha a few times. But for the most part, he's going to be sitting in there, bringing the resolution. When Saturn first comes to you, he brings what you perceive as punishment. What he wants is he wants your surrender. He says, you've got to surrender to the spirit. You fight against it, you create all kinds of problems. Saturn leans on you. He says, calm down. You've got to come back to the spirit. And you fight and you think everything, and you create all, as this is why I say, you create all of the trauma in your life. You know, when you fight against an immovable object, which Saturn is an immovable object. When you fight against it, you only harm yourself. When you stop fighting, when you stop fighting your true path, when you stop fighting your true highest expression of your soul in your earthly body, when you stop fighting that, Saturn lets up and says, that's all I wanted. I just wanted you to stop and be your true self. And the pain is when you fight that. And that pain is coming to an end. And for those of you who have been doing the interdimensional meditation, if you've been doing the CE5, you have initiated contact to higher dimensional beings. Whether you are aware of having had an experience or not, listen to what I'm saying. You've done interdimensional meditation, but you say, I don't think I had an experience. I don't think anything really happened. Look back at your life since you did it. You're going to see that your life has started coming together. You will see that you have started to see synchronicities line up. That you're still human. You may have a bunch of feelings, but you've realized that you're acting more healthily. You're doing things that are better for you. Because when you connect to the higher dimensional beings, your karma gets erased. For the first time in the history of the human race, you can literally go and have your karma erased. That's never happened before. The only time that ever happens is after a human being dies and leaves their body. They go and have a judgment, and they have a life review, and they release some karma. And the people that come back always come back free of all kinds of karma. They have all kinds of spiritual gifts and powers. It's because they had their karma erased. If you want your karma erased, now is the time. Initiate contact. If you want my help, go to the interdimensional meditation course, which we have at thunderwizard.com. You don't have to do it my way. Just go Google CE5 protocols. Even if you don't have an experience, I guarantee you'll see your life will start shifting. Because for the first time in the history of the human race, human beings can now drop the whole 3D thing by choice and say, I don't want to be 3D anymore, and you don't have to die. This is what's happening when people off themselves. They want to get rid of the pain of their karma, and they want to have that relieved and go to the joy of the spirit. For the first time in human history, we get to do that without having to die. For the first time in human history, the light beings are revealing themselves for who they really are. The angels, the elves, the spirit guides, the ancestors, the fairies, the whatever word you want to use. For the first time in the history of Earth, they are now opening up the curtains so that you can see who they are. And they are literally, if you go to them and you have, imagine you have this debt, imagine going to the bank and you have this debt of $100,000 and you know how to get, and you walk into the bank and you say, I know I owe $100,000, take me off to debtor's prison. Imagine them going, oh, we're so glad you came in. We're going to wipe off that debt for you. Go enjoy your life. That's where we are. Now, you may have a lot of feelings come up. It's not that you're going to be free of your emotional issues. It's not going to be that your feelings go away. You will become conscious of them. They might be challenging. But again, like puking up fish, as you get rid of it, you will feel cleaner and lighter. You're going to see people who had illnesses that are going to be healed out of nowhere. Now, it's come to my attention that a lot of illnesses are completely psychological in that, for instance, TMS, which is, let's just say, debilitating back pain. People who have debilitating back pain, they go and they get a bunch of surgeries done, etc., etc. It was discovered in the 70s that is actually a result of the brain choosing to shut off the blood flow to certain nerves and muscle tissues, resulting in extreme inflammation and extreme pain. And the brain is doing that because there is an emotion that the person is unwilling or unable to look at. And so the brain says, all right, I'm going to distract you from that emotion. It also has, people who have back pain. These are people who have money issues, because the kidneys is the mother, it's water, and money represents the milk of mother's love. So if you have back pain and you have money issues, it means you don't trust the universe to nurture you and love you. You heal that, the back pain goes away. You heal that, fibromyalgia goes away. You heal other traumas, other physical things go away. Cancer goes away. All kinds of illnesses go away. They disappear when you resolve the karmic emotional conflict. And now the infinite healers are coming from Aquarius like mother's milk. They're coming from the stars, and they are literally wiping away your pain, your disease, your self-hatred, the narcissistic abuse of our society that caused all of the pains, that caused all of the illnesses. That is being resolved. And it's being resolved now. And I'm telling you this not only because I've seen it in the astrology, because my friends have been telling me this. If you have been doing the interdimensional meditation, some of you know exactly, you're like, yep, they've been telling me the same thing. I say something and you feel a jolt of energy inside of you. That's them giving you the thumbs up. Yes, that's true. It's now 5D ascension is free for anybody that wants it. Just reach out. Just ask for it. I am here to give you the tools that I have. You can go onto the thunderwizard.com YouTube channel. You can look into the playlists. There's plenty of practices that will connect you to energy and strength and power and help you along this journey. If you want my guided instruction, then you can go up here to thunderwizard.com, click on Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong and subscribe. For the price of a video game, I give you the most powerful energy practices on the planet that were given to me by these guys. I didn't know it at the time. I do now. I was chosen to give you these techniques so that you could heal. If you really are serious, like if you're dead serious about this transformation, and you absolutely just are unwilling to be in any more of this conflict and confusion, then I recommend that you go up here to thunderwizard.com, and there is a 6-month Ascension Apprenticeship program, which is the 6-phase ascension process to 5D. I've just started working with clients. I'm very excited about this process. I can feel it's a targeted healing. You can perhaps get rid of, multiple lifetimes of karma. I'm not the only game in town. I'm here to share with you what I've got. If you want that, you can go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe to the 6-month Ascension Apprenticeship Program. You'll get access to the 90-day challenge and the Lightning Qigong. You'll get access to the interdimensional meditation course. And of course, you will be working directly with me for a 6-month period. Whatever it is that you do, my friends, you can simply, listening to me right now, make the decision that you're going to take advantage. 5D shift has arrived. It's going to be a process. Might be a long time, might be tens of years, hundreds of years, I don't know. Evolution is always a process. But whenever we evolve, it's always, you hit a plateau and then there's this huge evolutionary jump. We are in that evolutionary jump. If you have been working on your spiritual practice, you can feel it. You can feel more love, more healing, more awareness. You can feel it. If, however, you are struggling under, Saturn's got his elbow on you and he's telling you to surrender, and you've been fighting it and you're miserable and you're really struggling with your traumas, then there's been an upshift in that and it's actually caused you pain. You're in more pain than you were before. Just means it's time to surrender. You may need a technology. You may need a specific technique. That's what Buddhism is. That's what yoga is. That's what Tai Chi is. That's what Taoist meditation is. That's what I offer to you. If you want what I have, please take advantage of all the things we got. Thunderwizard.com, courses.thunderwizard.com, all the stuff that I offer. Go and check out my books. Interdimensional Revolution is my latest one, and there's Extraterrestrials Coming to Earth, as well as the Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life, which will show you how to know what your soul really wants. Odin says Jesus was a coward, to really open up the narcissistic, abusive, religious, what the elites have been doing to us for 2,000 years. Go to audiobooks.thunderwizard.com. If you're in another country other than the US, click the US site. Take advantage of it or not, but it's here for you. Just reach out. I think everybody should do CE5. Everybody listening to me, Google CE5 protocol. You want to know how I do it? Go to the Interdimensional Meditation course. You can also do free interdimensional guided meditations on my channel if you look for them. Anyway, I'm here for you, and I'm going to still be here, and there's a lot more to come. But between now, March 15th, 2023, and December of 2024, Saturn is going to sit in the nakshatra of cosmic intergalactic healing. Our intergalactic friends are going to make themselves known to us. The elites are going down for the count. This is it. This is the beginning of the most beautiful part of our reality. Just reach out and take it. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you later. Thank you so much. I love you all, and thanks for all your support on the channel. If you leave a comment or a question and I like it in the comment section, I will go ahead and make a video about it. That's it for today. I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.